Yo, what's up? It's your boy Kevin, the Patriot Punk, and today I have a video for you guys from the YouTube channel, The Root. Now, for those of you who don't know what The Root is, it is one of these websites and YouTube channels that gets lots of funding. It has great production value, a large staff, but nobody watches their videos. So how do they exist? Well, they get a ton of money from the Democratic National Committee, from the DNC, and all these other left-wing groups. They fund this site solely to push black supremacy garbage and communist propaganda. Don't believe me? Let's watch this video. This is their newest video, and it is calling Kanye West a race traitor. Check it out.
Welcome to Judge of Characters, where we have to defend the validity of racism. Former Real Housewife of Atlanta and eternally pregnant, tardy for the party star Kim Zolciak and rapping Twitter madman Kanye West have something in common. They both believe that racism ain't really a thing. Kim Zolciak summoned her whitest tears to cry about being bullied by 5 African-American women throughout the season 10 reunion of The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
All right, let me just stop right here and say that I very much do believe racism exists. One great example is somebody saying, "Girl, look at them white girl tears." What is that? This woman is rejoicing in this other woman's pain specifically because of the color of her skin. You don't hear white people saying, "Oh, look at them black boy tears. Look at those black girl tears." No. And that hypocrisy is something that we do need to address in this country.
This whole racism thing in this day and age is bullshit. Nobody really bought into it because the social media wasn't there and racism wasn't all that real.
You know it's not real if it don't have a hashtag.
You know it?
Sheba Sheree just stood there, but don't worry about her. I think her life punishes her enough. And then there are the beliefs of Mr. Kanye I'm in between rants West. It's like he's starting to believe the thing his wife tells him. Kanye's tweets are simple, scattered, and sometimes, like a big sometimes, brilliant. But other times, not so much.
Well, yes, of course Kanye was brilliant when he was bashing George W. Bush. He was brilliant when he was taking an award out of Taylor Swift's hand and saying Beyonce should have won that. But now that he's embraced conservatism, well, he's nuts. He's a race traitor. He should have his black card taken away. And he's listening to his wife, which you would think would be a good thing because these people call themselves feminists. But because his wife is white-ish, she doesn't count. Kanye West has this song called Diamonds Are Forever, and diamonds may be forever. But what's not forever is blacks voting Democrat. And it's funny because now that we're seeing this awakening in the black community, the Democrats are treating blacks the very way they accused Republicans of treating blacks and told the black community that the Republicans would treat them if they ever left the Democrat plantation.
Like this one. I love the way Candace Owens thinks. Who? Candace Owens is a conservative commentator and an apologetically black woman who believes that black people aren't living through racism.
Okay, Red Pill Black, also known as Candace Owens, is a conservative commentator and YouTuber, and she does not think that racism doesn't exist. She believes that institutional racism does not exist in America, and she is absolutely right. From the research I've done and from my own travels to over 20 countries, I can tell you guys that America is the only country in the world where minority populations have equal opportunity to walk the corridors of power. We're the only country in the world that goes so far out of its way to accommodate the minority populations that we actually, in many cases, discriminate against the majority population. We are one of the only countries in the world where minority populations are the highest income earners, higher than the majority population. So, complete BS to believe that America is institutionally racist.
Sis, here she is speaking her nonsense.
I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. You're not living through anything right now. You're overly privileged Americans.
I hear the sunken place is delightful this time of year.
So she laughs and jokes about Candace Owens' point because she does not have an actual rebuttal to that point. Candace Owens being absolutely right. We are so blessed here in America that people have to make up ways that they are oppressed. Case in point, microaggressions.
Oh, just delightful. Kanye believes that people like Candace are free thinkers challenging the status quo. But black people like Candace and Kanye don't think. They incite and divide.
Okay, I hate this crap. When people on the left claim that people on the right are being divisive or inciting something, it is pure BS. It is intellectually dishonest, and this woman knows that, or she is dumb as a doornail. My guess is the latter. Guys, let me just tell you why this is completely false. The left, their whole ideology is based on conflict theory, right? Marxism is conflict theory. It's the idea that you have to have conflict between the classes to progress society forward. And the race aspect or the gender aspect comes from critical race theory or critical gender theory, which is what we call cultural Marxism. And that's the idea that you have to have division between races and genders and etc. So when you hear people on the left claim that people on the right are being divisive, that is pure projection. And as we know, the number one rule of the left is leftists always project. They need conflict between the races to keep people on that Democrat plantation. And when people start to free themselves, what do? They create more conflict between races.
And for what reason? To help people of color see that racism isn't real and that we're just complaining about things our ancestors experienced? Knowing that racism is real doesn't mean that we're not aware of how far we've come. But just look at how far we have to go. Neo-Nazis just burned a swastika after this rally in Georgia. Florida police shot and killed a black man, then showed up at the funeral home to unlock his phone with his fingerprint. And don't even get me started on Waffle House and Starbucks.
So I don't know what happened at Waffle House, but I know the Starbucks thing was not racism. Yeah, I did a whole video about that, and I even talked about how I was arrested for not leaving a place when asked to leave. I also want to talk about her claim that these Nazis are everywhere, that this thing in Georgia is an example of how America is racist. No, it's an example of how a few people are racist. In fact, Nazis in America are actually outnumbered by black nationalists. So you could just flip that right on its head and say that America is racist because we have more black nationalists than ever before. The truth is that these groups are minorities, very, very, very small minorities. And that means nothing when you're talking about America being racist, because to say America is racist, you are claiming that institutional racism exists, and there's absolutely no proof of that.
Let's look at the free thinking tweets. I really would like for free thinkers to tell me what free thinking means, because so far, it appears to only mean not believing that racism is a real problem. He's actually out of the sunken place when he's being himself, which is very expressive. Somebody call Jordan Peele. We gotta get out too. Out of the sunken place. I know we have quite a bit on our plates. I get many are not fans of Kanye West. However, if you care about this nation, real equality, and an end to racism, lies, and related drama, now's the time to support this man, and Candace as well. Speak up. MAGA for all. If racism isn't real, then why is it that whether dealing with police, the justice system, or even applying for a loan, black people are negatively impacted across the board? Black people who are killed by police are twice as likely to be unarmed than their white counterparts.
Okay, so something you'll see her do here, and the left do this all the time, is they add a little truth in their propaganda, right? A good propagandist always uses a little bit of truth. So what they do is they find a very specific set of data, and then they use that specific data and semantics to try to show that disparity exists. Right here, she's saying that police are more than twice as likely to shoot unarmed black men. But she doesn't tell you about police shootings overall. She doesn't tell you that that group is more likely to run from police, more likely to fight with police, and she doesn't tell you anything about the crime rate of that particular group. And so when people like Candace Owens and Kanye use nuance, well, then they're race traders, right? But they're free thinkers. That's what they are, and she's mocking them for being free thinkers.
Last year, black people accounted for 22% of all those killed by police. However, we only make up 13% of the population.
Okay, so right there, she proved my point. She says that blacks are making up 22% of police shootings while only being 13% of the population, but she ignores the fact that blacks make up 45% of the crime rate in this country. So when you compare crime rate to police shootings, blacks are less likely to be shot by police than whites, Asians, and Hispanics.
I don't know math, but that sounds bad.
Black people are incarcerated in state prisons in the United States at more than 5 times the rate of whites. And black people are more likely to face mortgage denial, even while having the same credentials as their white counterparts, if they even get approved in the first place. But racism isn't real.
Okay, so this claim by the left that lenders are racist, it really gets my goat. What do these people think? Do they think there's a building out there with a bunch of Hank Hill looking white people in it, looking at pictures of applicants and going, "Hey, Peggy, come look at this. We have a darky here. We better deny him, I tell you what." No, that's not how this works, right? They look at 2 things, credit score and credit history. And even if 2 people have an equal credit score, they might have a very different credit history. So that's all they look at. They're actually prohibited from asking questions about race on lending farms.
Our entire country sits on the foundation of systemic racism as it continues to weave its way through the fabric of what America is and its legacy of division. The privileged are guilty of refusing to see racism and its effects on this country, and us, the melanated. I sentence the freethinkers who believe that racism is a myth to a Melania-esque life of holding Trump's hand. Oh, you'll try to avoid his grasp, but he will always get you. Let's get out 3. Somebody call Jordan Peele.
Okay, so that's how they end their video about Kanye West, with a cheap shot at Donald Trump. And that's apropos because their whole video was pointless. Guys, I know you boss players out there and you respectable women out there. You guys have been in a lot of relationships probably. If you're like me, you might have been married a couple times. You know women and you women know men. You guys, we fight, right? Men and women in relationships fight. You might get in an argument that morning. She might swat your hand away, but she'll jump your bones that night. You women might upset your husband in the morning and he'll get pissed. He'll walk out the door, but he'll come back begging for more. That's how things go in a real relationship. These leftists, it's like they don't understand normal human interaction. And to obsess over this hand swatting thing, it's like they're trying to say that the president and his wife don't love each other or something. It's so silly and petty. Anyway, I need you guys to do me a favor. Please subscribe to my channel and share these videos. I am blacklisted or shadow banned or whatever you call it. So the only way people see my videos is to search for them specifically or to have somebody share them. And the message is important. I don't care about making money on YouTube. I don't care about getting a huge following. But I do care about sharing the message. And I do like to make content that is a little on the edge, you know, because we have to push that Overton window as far to the right as possible.